Chris Doumitt has pulled back the curtain on one of the biggest stories in modern gold mining. A $100 million claim that has thrown Parker Schnabel's operations into chaos. What started as a routine survey turned into a high-stakes showdown, with rival crews scrambling to stake their positions and secure a share of a deposit, so massive it could redefine the season. The discovery isn't just about gold. It's about control, strategy, and reputation. Doumitt's claim exposes weaknesses in Parker's network and sparks tension that has crews and fans alike on edge. Trucks, machinery, and heavy equipment are now in motion, each move calculated to protect what could be the richest vein of the year. Every nugget, every pan of ore pulled from the claim has raised the stakes, turning a standard mining season into a battle of strategy, nerve, and sheer luck. As crews clash over access, secrets, and timing, this feud is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic in gold rush history. With $100 million on the line, every decision matters, and the fallout will be felt across the gold fields. This is more than a discovery. It's a full-blown mining war, and the world is watching. Like and subscribe to see how the feud unfolds. The story begins in the dead of night. Satellite images flicker across Chris Doumitt's laptop screen, revealing something no one expected. A massive, untouched vein of gold lurking behind a flood-control dam on Parker Schnabel's claim. The vein glimmers in infrared scans, hidden from casual observers, and it's enormous, enough to make even veteran prospectors' jaws drop. But this wasn't just luck. Chris had been digging deeper, literally and figuratively. In a dusty yellowed journal discovered in the archives of a local museum, he found cryptic notes from Parker's father, suggesting that during the historic gold boom, the family had mined this area secretly, bypassing records and surveys. The idea that Parker Schnabel could be sitting on a fortune of unimaginable scale was no longer speculation. It was a growing storm. What made the claim even more suspicious was its absence from official maps. Every government survey, every registry listing the surrounding plots, conspicuously left Parker's latest claim off the grid. Erased is the word Chris used when speaking to his inner circle. How could a claim of this magnitude simply vanish from records? The answer, he suspected, involved secrecy and a family legacy buried under layers of deception. As the night deepened, Chris hired drone operators to film the claim under the cover of darkness. The footage showed machinery moving, shadows of workers appearing briefly under floodlights, then disappearing again as if the site itself had become a ghost town. Every movement was calculated, controlled, and unnerving. Then came the real twist, a mysterious encrypted message posted on a mining forum, unsigned and anonymous, reading simply, "The biggest gold ever seen is being hidden under your nose." Chris felt a chill. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a challenge. The next day, Chris went public with his findings. The accusation was bold, incendiary, and designed to shake the gold rush world to its core. Parker Schnabel was allegedly masking millions of dollars in gold, funneling wealth to avoid paying investors and taxes. Insider whispers hinted at a network of secret vaults outside Alaska, where top-grade nuggets were stored away from prying eyes. Chris didn't stop there. He released what he called a prototype assay report, claiming laboratory verification of 99% pure gold and a potential $100 million haul hidden beneath Parker's claim. The gold rush community exploded. Forums lit up with heated debates, dissecting every frame of Parker's past expeditions and his current claim operations. Maps were pulled up, historical reports scrutinized, and fans of the show began picking sides in a real-life treasure war. Parker, true to form, remained silent. Behind the gates of his claim, his team tightened security, guarding machinery and storage areas like a fortress, cutting off any casual access. The air was thick with suspicion and anticipation, but Chris wasn't done digging. His team began uncovering the skeleton of Parker's hidden operations. Underground conveyor tunnels constructed to move gold unseen. Schematics, pieced together from old mining maps and on-site observations, suggested these tunnels connected to flooded shafts and ancient placer mines, some untouched for decades. Rumors swirled. Parker's miners were reportedly working in 24-hour shifts under floodlights, and cameras had mysteriously gone dark during nighttime operations. Chris's crew began documenting unusual tire tracks and missing fuel barrels near the claim, subtle hints of activity that suggested the scale of the operation. Then the game changed. A leaked audio clip surfaced, allegedly capturing Parker instructing his crews to make it look like nothing is there. The line sent shivers through the gold rush community. It wasn't just a mining operation, it was a covert, high-stakes strategy to hide one of the most valuable claims in recent history. Every detail seemed calculated. Every tunnel, every night shift, every disabled camera. Chris realized he wasn't just fighting for gold. He was chasing a shadow empire, a hidden network that Parker had cultivated with precision over years. As drones circled overhead and scouts moved discreetly across the claim, Chris's mind raced through possibilities. Could he expose the full extent of Parker's hidden fortune? Or would Parker stay a step ahead, turning every revelation into another layer of secrecy? The tension was palpable. As the night wore on, Chris's crew reviewed hours of drone footage, zooming in on machinery that shouldn't have been active, shadows moving in patterns that suggested careful planning, and paths cleared with surgical precision. Every clue painted a picture of an operation that had been carefully orchestrated over decades, hiding wealth that could dwarf any previous finds in modern gold rush history. Every tire track, every missing barrel, every shadow under the floodlights told the same story. Parker Schnabel was no ordinary miner. He was a master of deception, a man guarding a fortune that might never see the light of day, unless Chris could outsmart him. And that's where the story really picks up speed. Chris now had evidence, leads, and a plan, and there was no time to waste. Every detail mattered, every tunnel mapped, every pattern of gold logged, and the margin for error was razor-thin. As night thickened over the rugged Alaskan terrain, he moved with his team like shadows, the machinery of the camp silent behind them, the air sharp with frost and tension. Each step was calculated, every sound deliberately muted. The covert approach toward Parker Schnabel's claim demanded perfection. One slip, one careless noise, and the notoriously vigilant security patrols would ruin everything. The tunnels whispered secrets of hidden treasure beneath the frozen ground, and with every heartbeat, Chris knew they were inching closer to a haul that could rewrite modern gold rush history. The drones whirred silently above, capturing infrared scans and high-resolution footage of machinery that should have been idle. In the faint glow of floodlights from distant camps, shadows shifted, suggesting crews moving heavy equipment, yet their paths seemed deliberately obscured, almost ritualistic in timing. Chris's pulse quickened as he realized they were witnessing an operation that had been refined over years. Every night shift, every hidden vault, every shadow seemed pre-planned for maximum secrecy. By dawn, reports came flooding in from ground scouts. Crates were being loaded onto unmarked trucks, their contents a mystery, their movements shrouded in deliberate ambiguity. The timing was uncanny. Before the sun fully rose, before most casual observers could even breathe the mountain air, Parker's operation had moved significant cargo without a single traceable mark. Anonymous radio chatter crackled in the distance, barely audible but unmistakably filled with tension. References to blocked access points, cut power lines, and moved markers hinted at deliberate sabotage, designed to confuse any outsider attempting to map or survey the area. Chris knew he was in a high-stakes game, one where paranoia was both weapon and shield. Surveillance footage from hidden cameras documented heavy machinery operating without lights, a clear signal that high-value cargo was being transported under the cover of darkness. Every rotation of a conveyor belt, every rumble of a loader, every shadow sliding past the edge of a floodlight suggested an operation meticulously hidden from public scrutiny. The tension between the camps escalated instantly, suspicion and paranoia now poisoning every whispered conversation. Both crews braced themselves, wondering who might be spying, sabotaging, or intercepting at any moment. Amid this chaos, Chris stumbled upon something that would redefine the stakes entirely. A ledger, yellowed and fragile, tucked in a storage cabin almost hidden by years of neglect. Its pages detailed decades of gold movement under Parker's management, chronicling operations that had been carefully obscured from investors, regulators, and competitors alike. Handwritten notes, coded dates, and obscure annotations suggested a staggering reality. Massive hoards had been hidden following every previous gold rush expedition, each nugget carefully tracked, yet seemingly off the official records. Analysts who examined images of the ledger speculated that, if authentic, Parker Schnabel could have amassed well over $100 million in hidden gold over the decades. This revelation was explosive. Chris now had not only visual evidence of ongoing secret operations, but also historical proof that Parker's family legacy had always involved clandestine hoarding of enormous wealth. In response, Parker's team ramped up security measures exponentially. Biometric locks replaced old padlocks, hidden cameras dotted every processing area, and perimeter sweeps increased in frequency and intensity. Rumors circulated of ghost crews working in the dead of night while the main team slept, reinforcing the almost mythical aura surrounding the operation. The idea of unseen workers moving tons of gold through flooded shafts and hidden tunnels added an air of legend to an already tense feud. Chris knew that exposing this was more than a matter of documentation. It was a calculated risk, one that could either validate his claim or provoke a full-blown confrontation with Parker's tightly controlled empire. Social media became the next battlefield. Chris released dramatic drone footage showing Parker's operation at full scale. Massive machinery carving through rugged terrain, flooded shafts glinting under floodlights, and trucks hauling loads in patterns that seemed designed to confuse any observer. Parker responded almost immediately, releasing cryptic clips showing untouched nuggets gleaming like liquid gold in shadowed chambers, shafts brimming with water that reflected machinery above, and workers moving in silence, almost as if performing a ritual. The Gold Rush community exploded, dissecting every frame, theorizing every detail, and debating not only the scale of the operation, but also ethics, loyalty, and mining honor. Discussions erupted over whether Chris's tactics were justified, whether Parker's secrecy was a cunning legacy, and what the true value of the hidden hoards might be. Local miners took sides quietly but decisively, tipping influence and access in subtle ways that neither public statement nor social media post could fully capture. Some offered whispered support to Chris, sharing sightings of unusual machinery or abandoned campsites, while others reaffirmed loyalty to Parker, citing his decades-long reputation for strategic brilliance. Analysts predicted that if a major haul were confirmed, global media coverage would follow, turning what had been local drama into an international spectacle. As day gave way to night, the operations on both sides accelerated, the shadow of the $100 million claim looming larger than ever. Every move, every whisper, every captured frame fed a story of high-stakes espionage and legendary secrecy, a modern-day gold rush battle in the making. And with tensions at a fever pitch, the invisible lines between rumor, loyalty, and action blurred. Chris soon received reports that Parker's machinery bore signs of tampering. Bearings loosened, hydraulic lines sliced, and conveyor belts misaligned. A massive loader had crashed into a partially collapsed tunnel, sending dust clouds spiraling into the stormy night. Whispers claimed it was a calculated move to protect hidden caches of gold, and even seasoned miners exchanged uneasy glances. The feud had shifted from words and alliances to deliberate, high-risk sabotage, a tactical battle over territory, trust, and fortune. Leaked video footage added another layer of intrigue. Shadows showed heavy crates moving through hidden sluices during torrential storms, appearing and disappearing almost like ghosts of gold. Each frame suggested a carefully choreographed operation, one designed to shield the most valuable resources from prying eyes. Chris and his team realized that uncovering Parker's secrets required more than brute force. It demanded intelligence, patience, and a willingness to risk life and limb. In response, both camps began hiring private investigators, forensic geologists, and equipment specialists, turning the isolated claim site into a high-stakes battlefield monitored by technology, intuition, and sheer nerve. Security cameras were upgraded, night watches doubled, and every truck movement, every shift of machinery became a potential flashpoint. The feud had transitioned from a media spectacle to a covert war over gold, with secrecy and surveillance defining the rules. Amid this escalating tension, Chris stumbled upon an even more astonishing discovery: a sprawling network of underground tunnels running beneath Parker's claim, long rumored but never confirmed. Some of these passages dated back decades, possibly even to the 1800s, when gold smugglers were said to have hidden massive shipments away from regulators and law enforcement. Flooded chambers whispered of untapped fortune, and one misstep could send a diver to the bottom with no hope of rescue. Parker, it was rumored, had meticulously mapped these tunnels, sharing the information only with his most trusted crew. Chris understood that a single dive into these submerged passages could either reveal the treasure of a lifetime or become the final act in a deadly game he could not afford to lose. Equipped with specialized gear, Chris planned a daring underwater exploration. Cameras mounted on helmets, air tanks calibrated to extreme depths, and waterproof lighting created a cinematic scene reminiscent of the most perilous adventure films. The team descended into murky water, each bubble rising like a heartbeat in a cathedral of stone and sediment. Above ground, storm clouds rolled in, lightning slicing across the sky, illuminating the frenzy of activity on the claim. Bulldozers churned through tons of rock, floodlights cut swaths of white through the darkness, and crews moved like ghosts around massive machinery, all under the gaze of drones transmitting real-time footage back to Chris's operations hub. Social media followers were captivated, bombarded with posts depicting the almost surreal combination of natural fury, industrial might, and human daring. Then came the first reveal. Chris unveiled a small haul of gold, just enough to prove that the hidden caches were real and substantial. Nuggets glimmered under floodlights, some larger than any seen publicly in years, and the weight of history seemed to cling to each piece. The message was clear. The $100 million claim was not a fabrication, and Parker Schnabel's carefully constructed veil of secrecy was beginning to crack. Parker countered immediately, releasing footage of enormous nuggets left untouched in the claim, shafts still flooded and shimmering, and machinery moving silently, as if the entire site were a living, breathing organism guarding its treasures. The reaction was explosive. Analysts debated the legitimacy of both claims, fans dissected every frame, and commentators questioned the ethics and strategy of both camps. The suspense was almost unbearable. Experts hinted that what had been revealed was merely the tip of the iceberg, that countless larger caches might still lie hidden beneath layers of sediment, behind locked gates, or submerged in labyrinthine tunnels. The feud had evolved far beyond legal disputes or public spectacle. It was now a legend in the making. Social media exploded with speculation about secret vaults, flood tunnels, ghost crews, and the total value of the hidden gold. Each new post, each leaked video, each sudden update intensified the story, pulling in viewers from across the globe who were desperate to witness the next move in this cinematic battle. The narrative had transformed into something almost mythic. Chris Doumitt, the relentless seeker, pitted against Parker Schnabel, master of secrecy and deception, each operating with precision, strategy, and a willingness to bend or break rules in pursuit of treasure. Machinery clanged, floodlights cast long shadows, and storm clouds loomed over a claim that seemed alive with history and hidden wealth. Every night brought new tension, every dawn revealed new discoveries, and every move by either party was scrutinized, analyzed, and broadcast. The hidden tunnels, the flooded chambers, and the ongoing surveillance created an environment where suspense was constant. Stakes were extreme, and the allure of unimaginable wealth hung over every decision. As the sun rose on another day, both camps prepared for the next chapter. Chris's team analyzed footage from every angle, cataloging evidence, plotting next moves, and preparing for dives into submerged chambers that could hold hundreds of pounds of untapped gold. Parker's crew reinforced the claim, moved caches, and continued to orchestrate operations that blurred the line between legend and reality. The story had become more than a fight over gold. It was a dramatic, high-stakes duel over strategy, legacy, and the right to claim one of the most mysterious and valuable treasures in modern mining history. The world watched, riveted, as secrets continued to surface, revealing not just the magnitude of the claim, but the ingenuity, risk, and daring of everyone involved. Every crate moved, every light that flickered in a flooded shaft, every whisper over a radio, and every tweet, post, or video released added to the unfolding legend. The Gold Rush feud had reached a level few could have predicted. Ancient tunnels, storm-drenched machinery, high-risk dives, and the first tangible proof of fortune all collided into a spectacle that blurred reality and myth. As Chris prepared for the next move, and Parker reinforced his empire of secrecy, the tension that had simmered in whispers and rumors began to manifest in the real world. By the following night, storm clouds loomed low over Parker Schnabel's claim, lightning slicing the sky and reflecting off puddles of runoff across the rugged terrain. Both camps had assembled, crews tense and alert, machinery lined up like soldiers awaiting orders. Chris Doumitt's team had arrived under cover of darkness, deploying drones, surveillance rigs, and mobile cameras to capture every angle, while Parker's crew fortified their positions with trucks, loaders, and concealed equipment, creating an almost military tableau. Heated exchanges erupted immediately. Legal threats, verbal volleys, and accusations of sabotage flew back and forth. Beneath the noise, however, the underlying truth remained unchanged. Machinery hummed, floodlights glared, and hidden caches lurked, silent witnesses to decades of carefully orchestrated secrecy. Drone footage, streaming live to thousands of eager viewers, revealed surreal, almost cinematic visuals. Massive gold veins shimmered faintly beneath partially excavated rock. Flooded shafts reflected storm clouds, and dust and debris rose in ghostly clouds as loaders and excavators moved tons of rock with surgical precision. The interplay of floodlights, rain, and machinery created a scene that resembled a cinematic treasure battle, an epic showdown where human skill, technology, and historical legacy collided. Fans live-streamed the entire confrontation, dissecting drone angles, machinery placement, and even body language, predicting every maneuver and anticipating every strategic choice. Whispers of a hidden vault beneath the river circulated, a mythical repository rumored to hold unimaginable quantities of gold, fueling fevered speculation that went far beyond the immediate quarrel between Chris and Parker. The tension reached an almost unbearable peak. Every footstep, every engine roar, and every flicker of light was scrutinized. Both teams knew that one misstep could mean the loss of millions in potential gold, exposure to legal action, or even injury. Chris's crew carefully navigated the terrain, capturing footage of every loader, conveyor, and sluice that hinted at the massive scale of the operation. Parker's team, equally vigilant, worked in near silence, maneuvering massive nuggets and adjusting hidden sluices designed to transport gold to secure vaults without detection. The scene was part siege, part heist, and part cinematic spectacle, with the world watching as two modern treasure hunters enacted a high-stakes drama that could rival any legend of the past. Amid the storm, Chris succeeded in extracting a small but significant haul, employing extreme secrecy to move the gold undetected. Each nugget was cataloged, weighed, and temporarily secured in hidden compartments of the claim site. The haul was enough to validate his $100 million estimate, offering tangible proof that Parker's operation was hiding gold at a scale few had ever imagined. Yet Parker was ready. Using advanced machinery and methods honed over decades, he revealed caches even larger than Chris's haul, moving enormous nuggets through concealed sluices and tunnels, invisible to drones and surveillance cameras. The logistical choreography of the operation. Massive rocks shifted, sluices angled perfectly, water currents manipulated, demonstrated a mastery of mining that bordered on artistry. The drama intensified as crews labored under adverse conditions. Flooded tunnels hissed with rushing water, muddy slopes became treacherous, and storm-driven winds swept over floodlights and scaffolding. Workers handled nuggets weighing hundreds of pounds, carefully maneuvering them across precarious platforms. Improvised sluices transported gold from submerged chambers to dry holding areas, a combination of human ingenuity and raw strength that left even experienced observers in awe. Analysts who reviewed the footage suggested this could be the largest visible haul in decades, capturing the imagination of both the media and fans. International coverage followed, each segment emphasizing the cinematic nature of the operation, the gold, the storm, the machines, and the human drama, creating a spectacle that blurred the line between reality and legend. Both camps seemed to anticipate future seasons, preparing for even more ambitious extractions. Equipment was repaired, hidden sluices reinforced, and new monitoring systems installed. The tension between Chris and Parker evolved into a grudging respect for each other's strategic brilliance, even as they competed for supremacy. Every move, every extraction, every secret tunnel explored suggested that this feud was far from over. The claim had become a proving ground, a theater of strategy, secrecy, and risk, setting the stage for battles yet to come. The culmination of the feud did not bring resolution. It brought legend. Chris published a final evidence compilation, a meticulously curated collection of lab reports, ledger scans, and footage from secret tunnels, each piece designed to prove his diligence and strategic insight. Parker countered with a cinematic video showcasing his machinery, the loyalty and skill of his crew, and historical maps tracing decades of family mining operations. Social media exploded, forums dissected every detail, and fans argued passionately over who truly controlled the hidden $100 million haul. Every leaked clip, every ledger annotation, every drone shot became fodder for speculation, debate, and myth-making. Industry insiders weighed in, speculating on future lawsuits, potential investments, and secret recoveries by either party. The operations were no longer just mining. They had become cultural events, benchmarks for strategy, secrecy, and spectacle. The story transcended legal claims, moving into the realm of myth, where gold was both literal and symbolic, representing legacy, ingenuity, and human daring. Chris and Parker had transformed a modern gold rush into a saga of secrecy and spectacle, blending history, strategy, and cinematic storytelling into an epic that captivated the world. Ultimately, the feud cemented itself in gold rush lore. Stories of sabotage, secret tunnels, ghost crews, and hidden vaults circulated like legend, while the tangible proof of gold and meticulously documented evidence anchored the saga in reality. Both miners emerged as icons, embodiments of a new kind of treasure hunter, strategist, risk-taker, and storyteller. The $100 million claim, the cinematic confrontations, and the relentless pursuit of hidden wealth created a narrative that would echo for decades, blending history, myth, and spectacle into one of the most dramatic chapters in modern gold rush history. Every drone flight, every sluice movement, and every shadowed figure in the tunnels contributed to a legacy that was now immortal, leaving audiences captivated and craving the next revelation in the ongoing saga of Chris Doumitt versus Parker Schnabel.